Sarah's combat instincts tingled as she rested her hand protectively over her 7-month baby bump. After 3 Afghanistan deployments, she never expected her toughest confrontation would be in a small-town diner with a leather-clad biker sneering. "Move aside, pregnant lady." The summer heat rippled across the cracked pavement of the roadside diner, its weathered sign creaking in the dusty breeze. Sarah Mitchell adjusted her stance, compensating for the weight of her 7-month pregnancy. At 34, her body carried both the roundness of new life and the invisible scars of her 12 years as a Marine Special Operations Commander. She'd only stopped for a quick lunch and restroom break on her drive to the Veterans Affairs Medical Center. The parking lot was nearly empty, except for a row of gleaming motorcycles. Sarah had carefully parked her sedan in the spot farthest from the entrance, giving her aching back a chance to stretch during the walk. "Hey lady, you deaf or just plain stupid?" The voice cut to the quiet air, deep and impatient. A broad-shouldered man in a leather vest approached, the Crimson Wolf emblem on his back matching those of the 5 bikers behind him. His arms, covered in tattoos, flexed as he gestured to her car. "That's our spot. We always park here." His eyes flicked dismissively to her pregnant belly. "You shouldn't even be driving in your condition." Sarah met his gaze without flinching, her posture automatically shifting to the balanced stance ingrained from years of combat training. Her hand instinctively moved to her stomach in a protective gesture. "I wasn't aware parking spots had permanent reservations," she replied evenly, her voice carrying the calm authority that had once commanded elite squadrons through hostile territories. The lead biker, Mike, according to the patch on his vest, stepped closer, invading her personal space. Behind him, his gang formed a loose semicircle. Sarah noted their positions with the automatic tactical assessment of a trained operator, identifying potential threats and escape routes without breaking her composed expression. "Look at you, all proper and pregnant," Mike sneered, his voice loud enough to draw the attention of diners peering through the windows. "Didn't your husband teach you to respect men who actually do something in this world?" Sarah remained silent, her face betraying nothing though she methodically cataloged every insult. One hand rested on her bump, the other hanging loose at her side, ready, just as she'd been in countless hostile situations. "What's wrong? Baby brain got your tongue." Another biker chimed in, prompting laughter from the group. Maybe she needs her man to come explain things. Inside the diner, patrons watched with concerned expressions. A waitress hesitated by the door, coffee pot in hand, clearly unsure whether to intervene. "I'd appreciate it if you'd step back," Sarah finally said, her tone measured but firm. "I'm just here for lunch." A flash of memory crossed her mind, her team surrounded by hostile forces in Kandahar province, maintaining calm under pressure, waiting for the right moment rather than escalating unnecessarily. The stakes had been higher then, but the tactical patience she'd learned served her well now. "Oh, she'd appreciate it," Mike mimicked her tone, drawing more laughter. He noticed a small veteran's pin on her maternity dress, and his eyebrows shot up. "What's this? Your husband's? Or did you serve coffee to real soldiers?" The other bikers closed in slightly. One particularly tall man, with a graying beard, spat on the ground near her feet. "Women playing soldier, while real men do the fighting. Now look at you, knocked up and helpless." Sarah felt her jaw tighten. 12 years of service, 3 combat deployments, and countless operations that would never appear in any public record, reduced to this man's ignorant assumption. The familiar cold focus of mission preparation settled over her, though now tempered with a maternal instinct to protect the life growing inside her. "I'd like to go inside now," she stated, not a request but a declaration of intent. She took a deliberate step toward the diner. "We're not done talking, lady." Mike moved to block her path. "See, you took our spot, and now you're being disrespectful. That's 2 problems we need to address." A smaller biker with nervous eyes glanced around. "Mike, she's pregnant, man. Maybe we should—" "Shut it, Dex," Mike snapped. "Being pregnant doesn't give her the right to disrespect the Red Wolves. Women like her think they deserve special treatment everywhere they go." Sarah stayed perfectly still, conserving energy, calculating odds. The diner door opened, and an older man in an apron stepped out, then halted uncertainly at the sight of the confrontation. "Last chance to apologize, Mommy," Mike said, his voice dropping to a threatening growl. "Otherwise, we might have to teach you some manners." The summer heat intensified as the standoff continued. Sarah's training had taught her to recognize escalating threats, and every instinct told her the situation was deteriorating. 6 bikers, 1 pregnant veteran, and a handful of concerned but passive onlookers. The tactical assessment wasn't favorable. Mike's confidence grew with each passing second of Sarah's silence. He misinterpreted her calculated restraint as fear, emboldening him further. "What's in there anyway?" he asked, nodding toward her belly with inappropriate familiarity. "Boy or girl? Bet your husband's disappointed. If it's not a son, real men want sons." Sarah's face remained impassive, but her mind raced through options. In her special operations days, she would have already neutralized the threat. Now, with her center of gravity shifted and precious cargo protect, she had to adapt her approach. "I need to get inside," she repeated, her voice carrying the unmistakable tone of someone accustomed to giving orders. "This heat isn't good for pregnant women." One of the bikers laughed. "Hear that, boys? The little mama has demands." Mike stepped even closer, now just inches from Sarah. "Maybe you don't understand how things work here. We're the Red Wolves. This is our town, our diner, our parking lot." His breath smelled of cigarettes and coffee. "Nobody tells us what to do, especially not some pregnant lady playing dress-up with military pins." He reached toward the veteran's pin on her dress. "Let's see what unit your husband was in." Sarah shifted her weight slightly, a nearly imperceptible adjustment. Her breathing remained steady, controlled. The same breathing techniques she'd used when lying motionless for 18 hours during sniper operations. "Don't touch me," she said quietly. Something in her tone made Mike hesitate, but only briefly. His pride was at stake in front of his gang. "Or what? You'll waddle after me?" The others chuckled nervously through the diner window. Sarah caught sight of the waitress on the phone, hopefully calling for help, but help would take time to arrive. Time she might not have if this continued to escalate. "You know what I think?" Mike continued, emboldened by his audience. "I think you military wives are all the same. Acting tough because of who you married. Behind every pin like that is a woman who couldn't cut it herself." The tallest biker, encouraged by Mike's bravado, moved forward. "Let me help the little lady inside, Mike. I'll show her some real courtesy." His tone suggested anything but courtesy. Sarah's mind flashed to her training in close-quarters combat, adapting techniques to her current physical limitations. She could feel her heart rate increasing, not from fear, but from the controlled adrenaline response she'd honed through years of high-stress operations. The tall biker reached toward her arm. "Come on, Mama. Let's get you inside." "Back off," she warned, her voice dropping to the commanding tone that had once directed elite teams to enemy territory. "Or what?" Mike laughed, nodding to his companion. "What exactly do you think you could do in your condition?" The tall biker's hand extended toward her baby bump. "Is it kicking? Can I feel?" What happened next occurred so quickly that the onlookers barely registered the movement. Before the biker's hand could make contact with her belly, Sarah executed a precise defensive maneuver. Her left arm deflected his approaching hand, while her right hand reached down to her specially designed maternity combat boot, extracting a tactical folding knife with practiced efficiency. In one fluid motion, she unfolded the blade and brought it to a controlled stop mere centimeters from the tall biker's throat. Her stance shifted to a perfect combat position, modified to accommodate her pregnancy, but no less effective. "Touch my baby, and you'll draw back a stump," she said, her voice deadly calm. The tall biker froze, eyes wide with shock. Mike took an involuntary step backward, his confident demeanor evaporating instantly. He began. "United States Marine Corps, Special Operation Command," Sarah stated, her eyes never leaving the tall biker while maintaining awareness of all others. 12 years, 3 combat deployments, and former close-quarters combat instructor. Now, would anyone else like to make assumptions about my husband or my military service? The silence was absolute. Even the distant sound of passing traffic seemed to fade as the reality of the situation sank in. Sarah smoothly retracted the blade, folding it with single-handed movement that spoke of years of practice, but kept it visible in her hand, a reminder of what she was capable of despite her pregnancy. "You're actually military?" Mike's voice had lost all its previous aggression. "Marines. Retired last year as a major." She gestured toward her stomach with her free hand. "This little one is my new mission now." The bikers exchanged glances, their entire posture transformed from threatening to uncertain. The Veterans Affairs pin on her dress suddenly took on an entirely different meaning to them. Mike's face flushed red, a mixture of embarrassment and lingering defiance battling across his features. "How are we supposed to know? You don't look like..." "Like what?" Sarah interrupted, slipping her knife back into its concealed sheath in her boot. "Like someone who led combat operations? Like someone who could defend herself." She straightened, wincing slightly as her baby shifted position. "That was rather the point of your harassment, wasn't it?" The diner door swung open, and the older man in the apron approached cautiously. "Everything okay out here?" His eyes moved from Sarah to the bikers. "Just a misunderstanding about parking," Sarah replied, recognizing the Army unit insignia pinned discreetly to the man's apron. Another veteran. The diner owner nodded slowly, understanding passing between them. "We've got a table inside for you, ma'am. Best seat in house." Mike took a deep breath, his hands now open at his sides in a non-threatening posture. "Look, we didn't realize..." He paused, seeming to struggle with the words. "The Red Wolves respect military. Real military." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "And pregnant women?" The smaller biker, Dex, stepped forward. "My sister served. Army. She have handed me my ass for how we just acted." He looked genuinely remorseful. "We were way out of line." Mike nodded slowly. "Yeah, we were." He extended his hand toward Sarah. "Mike Thornton. And I owe you an apology, Major." Sarah considered him for a moment before accepting the handshake. "Sarah Mitchell. And it's just Sarah now." The tension dissipated as quickly as it had built. The tall biker who had nearly touched her stomach took a respectful step back. "My dad was Marines. He'd be ashamed of me right now." "Then do better," Sarah replied simply. "Starting today." Mike gestured toward the diner. "Let's buy you lunch. Least we can do." The diner owner smiled approvingly. "I think that's a fine idea. And I've got some stories to share with the Major here about the old Corps days." The cool air inside the diner was a welcome relief after the confrontation in the parking lot. Sarah sat at a corner booth, her tactical awareness still monitoring exits and sightlines out of habit. The bikers had settled at a table across the room, their earlier bravado replaced with respectful nods whenever she glanced their way. The owner, Jack, brought her a glass of ice water and a menu. "Served with the 10th Mountain Division myself," he said quietly. "Always good to see another vet, especially one who can handle herself like that." Sarah smiled, rubbing her belly as the baby kicked enthusiastically. "This little one's already got a fighter spirit. Must know its mom just stood her ground." As she enjoyed her meal, Sarah reflected on the encounter. Throughout her military career, she had faced prejudice as a woman in special operations, always having to prove herself twice over. Now, as a pregnant veteran, she encountered a different kind of dismissal and disrespect. When it came time to leave, Mike approached her table, his manner completely transformed. "The guys and we want you to know we got nothing but respect for you, what you did out there." He shook his head in admiration. "It's not about the combat skills," Sarah replied, easing herself up from the booth. "It's about seeing people for who they really are, not what assumptions you project onto them." She left the diner with her head high, one hand protectively cradling her baby bump. The lesson delivered today wasn't just for the bikers. It would someday be for her child, too. Never judge someone's capabilities by how they appear. If this story resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. We respect every experience shared here. Have you witnessed pregnant veterans facing similar challenges or experienced discrimination based on service or pregnancy? Your experiences matter, and every comment helps raise awareness about the unique struggles and incredible strength of pregnant veterans. Subscribe for more powerful stories that honor those who serve both country and family.